Born and raised in rural India, she fought to reconcile her traditional upbringing with her ambitions. After a lifetime of being told she was too fat, too loud, and too ambitious, her world fell apart in her 30s when her arranged marriage ended. 30 years of desperately trying to be the person everyone else wanted had resulted in loneliness, depression, and confusion. While looking for purpose and meaning, Devina embarked on a journey of self-discovery that led her to start the Sexy, Brilliant global revolution designed to empower people of all backgrounds to live an authentic life. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for my interview with Devina.
Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
So, Devina, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. I'm looking at your beautiful face. It's such a glorious morning. How are you?
Hey, Emmett, wonderful to be here, and thank you for having me. Wow.
SexyBrilliant.com. How did you come up with SexyBrilliant.com?
Well, I am a recovering dating addict, and when my arranged traditional marriage failed, I was looking for love on Craigslist and everywhere else.
Craigslist?
Craigslist.
Craigslist? Come on, man.
Okay, it's hard to get laid. I mean, try being a single woman in your late 20s, early 30s.
You are absolutely right, because I was literally having this conversation with my wife, who's quite a bit younger than me, but we have friends, female friends, and they always seek my counsel. And I was trying to explain to my wife the American, basically white male hierarchy. I was like, once you hit 30, boom, it drops down a little bit. I was like, that's why women are always saying, I want to be married by 30. I'm like, and then after that, boom. But there was a surge because the MILF movement came in. Because
let's talk about the MILF movement.
The young dudes were like, whoa, wait a minute. It's a lot of underutilized vagina out here, and we need to tap that market.
Or another way to look at it is we women came into our power.
But that's real true. I mean, I think, and I've had a lot of women friends who said they really began to understand who they are, how their body felt, what they liked in this world, physically, mentally, and spiritually, around the age of 40. They were like, I was just kind of going with the flow before that. But, there's a certain point where things kick in and you say, I'm not about that bull. This is what defines me. This is who I own.
Yeah. And a lot of that, we women are told that, save your vagina for one man, no sex before marriage. A man will provide for you and be your savior. So how do you expect us to unlearn those things? It takes a lifetime to say, no, you know what? I don't need a man to save me. I'm great the way I am. So this is a two-way, it's a two-way thing. The man, the way a man looks at it, and the other way is how a woman looks at it. And I'm all for empowerment of all sexes, the man, the woman, the people who do not identify with a gender, the transgender, everybody deserves to be sexy, brilliant.
But I think it is an old construct, because we used to be very tribal or have clans, small villages where, the women did their thing. They kind of took care of, like, the camp is cool. We got the kids here. Mm-hmm. We're going to make sure the food's here. We're going to make sure the crops, nothing's eating the crops. You guys go out to the fields and do stuff and come back around night and then give us the stuff that you had, which is pretty much mirroring what we have now. It's just we're at an extreme. Bring your stuff back and we'll commune again. But, you know, back then, and this is like recent as maybe 100 years ago in many places of the world, you didn't know that many people.
Mm-hmm,
So it was pretty much a pairing up of the village. Now, but now, you know, we've diversified, we've moved across continents and stuff, and the rules have changed. So now it's literally a free for all.
It's a free for all, but also, you know, like we women are now working and, you know, we are providers. So the roles have changed. The gender roles have changed. We're not waiting for the man to come home. I'm a full-time divorced single mother, and, you know, I would really like to have maybe a partner, you know, but it doesn't happen. It ain't easy to get laid, and it ain't easy to get laid a second time with the same person.
I don't understand this, because how is it hard for a female? I mean, I can't wrap my head around this. I could give you 5 people, 5 men in front of you. And I was like, one of them, if you let them know what's available, they're going to take up that offer.
Yeah. I get that. But the thing is, none of these men are men I want to get naked and vulnerable with. And vulnerability is the key for a connection.
So why do you have to, well, this goes into a whole topic, because I got a whole different take on body image. My thing is this: we came into this world nude, and it wasn't until colonization that somebody said, put some clothes on. Think about it, because most of us were equatorial or in regions where it was warm, because that's where we survived. And it wasn't literally until someone said, oh, you're a savage, I can see your body parts. And you're like, I'm good. Like my whole family's over there in the buff, and we're about to have fish.
Yeah.
But somebody came with a gun and was like, look, you're going to get down or lay down. And you're like, I guess I'm putting this kente cloth on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And, you know, there also came the same thing with marriage. Marriage was invented by rich white men.
Yeah.
To control us women.
And assets. Because
yes,
that's one of the things that I uncovered, like why priests didn't get married. I thought it was for chastity for God, but it's really property rights. Because if you're married to a priest, then you have access to whatever property and assets he has access to. I was like, wow, that's pretty bizarre. But let's talk about your journey. So you were in an arranged marriage.
A traditional marriage, yes.
It was, wait, explain this to me. Make me look like I'm bad on here. Come on.
So, it was an arrangement. I got married because, you know, my parents, by the way, I grew up in India, and, I was always told that my identity was based around marriage and relationships. And that was my worth, was having children, being married, but also being, you know, a doctor or an engineer or somebody who, so the two things were kind of like, opposites, but also this was who my identity was. So I grew up being told, be quiet, don't talk too much, don't eat too much, you don't want to be too fat or too loud or too ambitious, because that's going to make you, nobody's going to want to marry you.
Yeah.
So that was my story. And I know that a lot of people, especially women, associate with that. You know, don't be too ambitious, don't be too loud, don't laugh too much. This is always about too much, right? Mm-hmm. So I, at a certain age, I wanted to get laid. So the only way I could get laid was to get married. And, so I met somebody. My parents were, you know, I had my parents' approval, a lot like an arranged marriage. Like for example, my parents married, they met for the first time at their engagement party.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then the second time they met was when they got married. I know.
No, I mean, this is historically traditional for so many cultures, but we can't phantom that today because, you know, I can just imagine if my parents would arrange like someone for me. I'm like, she doesn't even have thick hips, Pops. What's going on? How you going to set me up like this? You know, but that's from a guy's visual hunter gatherer, you know, perspective.
But the thing is, the other thing is that I would never dare to say anything to my parents because that would be like, you know, you cannot answer your parents in the culture that I come from.
Right.
And a lot of people still have that. We cannot answer back our parents, so the parents are always right, which, by the way, they're wrong. And in all honesty, so I got married, but I was not being authentic. I wasn't being myself. I was, you know, when you start a relationship in authenticity, based on lies, because you don't know who you are, you learn to behave a certain way to fit in, and then you get married, and guess what? That relationship ain't gonna work.
Yeah. You know, there was this conversation I've had with a friend of mine's daughter who is 19 and she is drop dead gorgeous. And she says, I met a guy, Uncle M, and I was like, oh. She was like, I want you to meet him. I was like, oh, that means it's serious. She's 19, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, dear, remember the whore phase conversation we had? You have to have the whore phase. She was like, I know. I was like, I don't want you to turn 35 and then have to rediscover yourself because you think you missed something. I'm like, that's important to understand who you are, and you have the freedom in this timescape to actually do it so that when you do pick a person or when you come across someone, they're a better fit for you spiritually, physically, and emotionally. She threw that out the window. I'm waiting to see her at 35.
Well, let me tell you, just this dating addiction where we're swiping right and left and looking for, you know, people to make us happy. It didn't work for my case. I was, you know, at one point in my life, I was like, I'm standing at the train tracks and I'm like, it would be so easy to kill myself.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm not there anymore, but this is what it is, because when your worth is based on a relationship, you know, that's your identity. So you lose that, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Well, what's next? Of course I didn't. You know, I saw the way out of there, the darkness, and the way I did it was through a lot of compassion, a lot of self-love, a lot of self-care, and seeking help of professionals, coaches, therapists, radical self-acceptance.
How about peer groups? Because this is one thing that I know, and it's literally a 50-50 thing with particularly with women. Men are a whole different culture, but I've seen this because I've had oodles of literal platonic female friends and non-platonic female friends, but I'm always very honest. We always have dialogues to be honest with each other. Mm-hmm. And like, if you watch Lifetime, it's like, oh, the girls group is empowerment. Women are freaking haters. So a lot of times, you know, you're trying to find solace in the group, find mentorship in the group, and they're like, I don't want you to come up better than me. Have you experienced any of that?
You know, so that's a very, very interesting thing you're saying, where what you're saying is that women shy away from supporting other women.
I'm saying it's either a 50-50. Either you have a really good group that has your back, or far too often I've seen where women are throwing shade on each other.
Yeah. And you know that, so I've experienced, a lot of hate. A lot of it is to do with my body size. And, you know, now I'm running this movement called Sexy Brilliant. It's a global revolution of empowerment from the inside out. So what I like yesterday, some guy sent me a nasty message and spammed me, and my first instinct was to send out a hate message back. I was like, what I wanted to say was, how dare you talk to me like that? Yeah. Like, I wanted to swear at him. But when I recognized and I got aware of this hate that was coming out of me, I stepped back. I took a break. I was like, what is it what in me is making him say this?
Yeah.
So so that mindfulness, that conscious effort to say, the first reaction, which is often an egoic reaction, is always kind of not pleasant. But then that awareness is what is empowerment, and that, so whether it's men or women or, anybody, people of any gender, it's about, we attract who we are. So, we attract who we are.
Ooh,
so
that's deep.
I know, yeah.
So I must be a really nice angel person, because my wife is awesome.
Absolutely, you are. You attract who you are. Huh. And the lessons we need to learn from that interaction.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So anytime there's a hate message going on, I'm asking myself, what in me is making me have this mindfulness, awareness, recognition, and then what I choose to do is ask forgiveness and move away from it. And that's my thing. So yes, and again, it's all relative. If I'm having a really crappy day, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to lash out at somebody being negative to me. However, if everything is zen and I'm managing my emotions, my everything is good, that same person messaging me is going to have a different reaction. So it's all about how I'm feeling, how I am, how zen I am, and the mood, the mojo I'm in. So it's all about the I, and I want to be able to say that to the listeners. It's always about I.
Yeah. I'm curious to ask. No, that didn't even sound right. Whatever. You and I are just conversating here. This is pretty much how my interviews go, because I pull these people in like yourself who something about you resonates with me and vice versa. But are you sticking to a segregated group of men that you are looking to date, or are you open to all love?
Oh, you know what? So here's the thing. I'm straight so far, but I'd be so happy to change that.
No, I said men. Good grief. That didn't go down the road I was thinking.
Well, life is all about new experiences.
No, what I'm asking is, are you only dating men from your same ethnic group, or are you open to all men?
Okay, hold on. First of all, I'm not dating. I can't remember the last time I went on a date.
Okay, let me rephrase it one more time, because we have a failure to communicate here. Are you looking at individuals who are from a select ethnic group?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So
absolutely not.
Are you in Canada?
I'm in Canada, and I actually travel quite a bit. So I am open. I'm always open to everything, including Hollywood reality TV, which, by the way, was a wonderful experience.
Seen that. I haven't seen it. What episode was it? I mean, because you're on
Patty Stanger, $1 Million Matchmaker.
Okay.
And she, by the way, she is a delight to work with. I love her.
Well, I am going to look for it now so that I can watch this. But
yeah.
So all this is, you've been able to give and produce works such as Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious, which is the book, A Brilliant, Sexy Handbook. How did that come about? And I like this. You said, prepare yourself for the world's first X-rated spiritual help book. What is this, the Karma Sutra Part 2?
Well, I am from India.
Touche.
I grew up and, I'm born and raised in India. So it's the land of spirituality and it's the land of orgasm. And, so the too fat, too loud, too ambitious is exactly what we women and a lot of men and a lot of people are told. Don't eat that. Don't talk too much. Don't laugh too much. Don't be too ambitious. Do your best to fit into society, because that's what, the being a rebel is not good for the society.
No, I like my wife. She was like, oh my God, you have so much fun. Cause she was like this little nice church girl when I met her. I was like, look, we gonna ball out of control. She was like, I can do that. I was like, be whatever you want. It's your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And she was
but before that, the thing is, we don't, when we listen to all these messages of being too fat, too loud, too ambitious, we lose our authenticity. We lose who we are. So it comes back to knowing ourselves, our gifts, our unique talents. And that's also knowing all parts of ourselves, because no part of you is your own enemy.
Okay, I'm going to rebrand you today.
Please do.
You are not too fat. All right? You're thicklicious. That's what I want you to use from now on. You're like, girl, I'm thicklicious.
Thank you. I will take that.
So as you're being thicklicious, that's your new mantra. And I understand that, particularly for certain societies, historically, it was like women should be docile.
Yes, but so the books that I'm writing is about people. It's about for you. It's for the readers. It's for you to, and the thing is, so many of us, men, women, transgender people, we are struggling with self-love. We are struggling with acceptance. We are struggling with finding our purpose in life. And that's what too fat, too loud, too ambitious is about. That nobody can be too fat, too loud, too ambitious, or too much of anything.
Yeah.
We are perfect the way we are. And the goal is to get to the next level of perfection.
So what's that level of perfection? Is it kind of like the pyramid of life where you start off at the basics and you're just moving through your journey to find out what resonates with you?
Absolutely. And it's also, it comes back to how well we know ourselves. Again, our gifts, our talents, but also our darkness, right? So in my case, I have an ego and her name is Claudia.
She's Mexican, huh?
Well, if she's multi-personality, changes where she is. So, so that the ability to recognize my ego, the ability to have a name for my darkness, and then to befriend and love that darkness.
Yeah.
That's what being successful in life is all about. And when we are able to know ourselves, our gifts, our unique talent, we can then share that with the world. And mine is sexy brilliant.
Yeah, because I'm looking at know, accept, unveil, and release. Is this some of the things that you go through in your workshops or your communities when you're presenting or teaching other people?
Absolutely. So sexy brilliant is a philosophy. It's about being sexy. It's about being sexy, confident, daring. But how do we do that? We got to know ourselves.
Yeah.
And then accept that person we are. And often that acceptance, that the darkness is very hard to accept. I don't want to be talking about my ego named Claudia on TV or with you right now, Emmett. It's dark, right?
I mean,
unpleasant.
Everybody has a darkness in them. It is part of who we are. It's the yin, it's the yang. Every culture has this balance between light and darkness. I mean, just like every day, we thrive in the daytime because of the sun, but we desperately need, we must go into the darkness, which is nighttime, to rest and to, reset ourselves and to heal. So light and darkness, they balance each other out, because we wouldn't even have free will if it wasn't for those oppositions. And with that, understanding life is from your perspective. Is it about setting an intention for your possible mate, or have you set a specific set of intentions? Because when I was single, I was happy being single. I said, I'm going to be single. And I tested God. I was like, look, God, I'm not going to get married again unless she's like this. I mean, I laid out physical attributes. I laid out like how many sexual partners she had. You can't have no more than this. And I was like, blah, blah. And the reason why is because I was like, that person doesn't exist. God was like, Buster, I'm going to show you. Here she is. And I was like, damn. So it's like my daughter always said, when you're in the middle of your whore phase and then you meet your soulmate, you're like,
well, so, like I said, I've struggled with a dating addiction, and then I've been on TV and, and a traditional marriage. So I am very sick and tired of this. What I'm doing now is I wrote a course on being a single expert.
Yeah.
The power of being single, because there is power in being single, but nobody's talking about it. We're still talking about relationships, identity based on relationships, sexual partners in a relationship. But why is nobody talking about the power of being single?
Because that goes against community.
That's right,
it goes against colonialism too. Because
that's right, yeah. Because it's like the power of being single, not needing anybody else, but being full and complete in our own self.
But I don't even have a rebuttal to that.
Well, it's a daily struggle. So, so just so you know some statistics, Valentine's Day is the single most loneliest holiday of the year. And Christmas too, very close to each other. But the highest suicides happen on Valentine's Day.
And that's a shame.
And that's single people. And it's time to change that.
But I'm wondering also about communal love. And I don't mean polyamorism or any of that. I just mean, why can't we have our own small communities? For instance, I was saying to my wife, I said, if I hadn't met you, I was like, I had this idea. I was going to buy probably a $500,000 house. $500,000 house. And I was just going to hang out. And if I met somebody, they're like, hey, you look good. I'm like, look, I like being single, but you come live with me. It's $350 a month. You get your own room. You get your own. If you want to hook up, that's cool. But especially after a certain age, because if you're divorced after the age of like 35, 40, it's really difficult because you're so set in so many particular ways of yourself, and trying to adapt to another individual can be tricky. I mean, it can be hard because, personality quirks, this, that, and the other, family things, because when you have a partner, you not only accept their energy, you accept their extended energy, which is their family, children, all that comes into play. So it's not like when you're 20.
That's right.
And you're just dating one-on-one.
Yeah. And I love how you said extended energy. I'm going to have to use that, Emmett.
Just send me my check. We'll be good.
Extended energy. I love that. I've never heard that before.
But that's what it is. For instance, absolutely. If you met a guy tomorrow, right? He's that dude. He's like, you're like, this is so. And then you find out you got a baby mama. She's in your relationship now. The child is in your relationship. The baby's mother's in her boyfriend is even in your relationship. You see what I'm saying? So it's extended energies that we don't even contemplate anymore. We just think, I just get this person, everything's going to be rosy. But you're in a relationship with whoever their still connected to by finances, contracts, and biology.
Absolutely. And spiritual contracts.
Yes.
It's karma, as we call it. And to clean that energy constantly is what life is all about. And to achieve nirvana, to achieve purpose, it comes from letting go of all these ties and these binds.
So what was when your marriage dissolved?
Yes.
What did that do to your psyche?
Oh, so, when my marriage ended, there was a lot of depression. There was a lot of darkness. There was a lot of not being good enough. I failed at the most important relationship of my life. That's what it was. And my ex-husband is a wonderful person. So it was never about him. It was always about me not being able to be good enough for him. And this is what it was for me. But then also my parents were like distraught. They were like, they couldn't believe it. Then it was always about, it's your fault because you were not good enough. So first there's the blame that we blame ourselves, and then there's a blame that comes from the outside society. But I had to, move away from that, because staying in that relationship was not good for me. It was just not, I was too ambitious. I was too loud. I was too fat for him. And it was just not doing good anymore to both of us, to our daughter. So that ending of that relationship was also a new beginning, because that was the time to say, do I want to kill myself, or do I want to, live and find my purpose?
There's something that's not really registering with me, but I know it's real, is because I know that particularly for men, we're very visual creatures. We're very earthbound creatures as far as how we attract things in our life. And every man has a type, and it is not what you see on television. So actually, it kind of is. You ever see the Flow commercials, the Flow insurance commercials?
No.
You're in Canada. I forgot. You guys have some. Anyway, so for every human being on earth, they are somebody's type.
Mm-hmm.
Some men like thick women. I mean, like you're too skinny. As a matter of fact, my wife said that she was like 129 pounds when we met. And she said, what if I gain weight? I was like, have you seen my hands? Your ass is too narrow already. I'm like, it's just weight. Uh-huh. And I said something else too. I said, besides, usually how we put on weight is so slow that I won't even notice it anyway. I'll just be happy that there's more surface area for my big hands to touch. But there's also men who like very skinny women, dark women. I mean, everybody has a type, just like women have types. Like some women like bear men. And when I mean bear, is like big, hairy. It's not the chills. Everybody's different.
And no judgment.
So have you ever...
And Sexy Brilliant is a non-judgmental way of life.
So you like what you like. And have you set the intention of the person that you literally want to be with?
You know what, Emmett? Like, there's been so much heartbreak in my life. I'm not even there.
Oh, I can believe it, because trust me, like I said, I have these friends. I know these stories, and their hearts are pure. Their hearts are open, and they're ready to go. But they're dealing with man children.
And to be all honest, it's the man children is also people who deserve love, but also, emotions are never right or wrong. They simply exist. So when we're dealing with somebody who's a man child, we got to go back and look at, why is he a man child? Is it his upbringing? Is it his story? What is his story? So it comes back to non-judgmental. And this is what I say when I meet people like a man child. I'm like, you're not the right fit for me, but what is it that I had to learn from you and move on? And that's important. The ability to move on from the heartbreak, the ability to, achieve our purpose, our full empowerment. And it's a lifelong journey.
So with the Indian culture, is it becoming more prevalent now where women are coming into their own? And like you said, like, look, I know you guys have the best intentions for me regarding, directed toward their family, but this is literally not me. And we live in a different age where I can afford to have these experiences.
Yeah, I don't need your financial assistance to be able to take care of me. That's a hard lesson to learn. It takes a long time to get there. And the thing is that it's actually really sad that in my case, I'm single and I'm, just sort of struggling with this, right? But I work a lot. I'm a full-time single mother. My parents live in India. So it's really not practical to kind of, date. It just isn't. And, but that's my story. And this is the story right now. However, 6 months from now, it might be something completely different.
I have quite a few friends. I can think of at least 10 who mirror your exact situation. And we've had these very same conversations where there is a journey, where there's depression. Well, actually there's optimism at first. Like, yeah, I'm out here. I can do this. And then there's experience, especially with Tinder and, forgot the other one that is like Tinder.
Craigslist?
No. There's another one that's like Tinder that's for a little bit older where, the women really get to choose. And
Bumble.
Yeah, Bumble. That's what it is. And Plenty of Fish and all those. But can you really, it serves two folds. I'm doing start stops. It serves two folds. So if you want a physical connection, those seem to be great options. Are they?
Yeah. Hold on. But for women, and I am answering for most women, a physical connection happens only after an emotional connection.
Exactly. But most men don't understand that. Or if they do, it's like, the
clever man does.
Yeah, the shyster.
The sexy, brilliant one does.
That's somebody. You know what we call that, don't you?
What?
Yeah, get them right, baby. Get them right. We call that game.
Aha! So we're all in this game, right? We're all swiping left and right, and that's the generation we live in. But the thing is, it's, there's a lot of choices too, right? There's a lot of choices, but to form that connection, that emotional connection where a woman is made to feel safe, that's what we want. And this is what I'm realizing. Unless I feel safe with somebody, I don't want to get naked or vulnerable with them.
Yeah. But it doesn't help nowadays because men are being vilified. Men are really hard. There's some really nice men out here, but the creeps are ruining it. And I'm not even saying the creeps. The women who have had experiences with creepy men is ruining it for a lot of the population because it's making a lot of good men skittish. Like, why would I want that drama or the potential of that drama when, it can cost me more than, I'm not even married and it can cost me as much as if I'm getting a divorce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, I meet this, I actually, most of my conversations are like this, right? I'll get messages from men. Just to be clear, I'm not looking for a relationship with you. Just to be clear, I'm not in the relationship market. I'm like, hold on. What makes you think I want a relationship with you? Well, and that's like power. It's like, it's a game because the minute you tell them you're not looking for a relationship, guess what happens?
What?
They're like, oh, really? Can we can I meet you? I'm like, no, I don't want to meet you.
It's a setup.
They fall for it though.
But that's weird though, because women always say this, and I found out it to be a lie. Just be honest and open with me. There's some things you just can't put on the table because it's going to take the legs off the table.
Yeah, but it's a game. It's really, there's a lot of, it's a game where people are just kind of like, a lot of it is a dating addiction. And this is what comes back to. I've been there and I have gone and studied myself and, psychiatrists, therapists, coaches, you name it. I've done it. And this is what it is. It's a dating addiction. It's the high, the validation that we're getting from the outside.
So are you teaching women how to get out of that cycle of constant validation through this dating culture that we're in?
So just to be clear, Sexy Brilliant is a movement for people of all genders. Leave nobody behind. Men, women, transgender.
That's awesome, because you're one of the first persons who included everybody. Because usually when I interview women, it is very women centric.
Absolutely not. We women cannot leave our men behind. We're going to end up with douchebags and have nobody to get naked with.
All you got to do, wait a minute, you got a great naked beach up there. Just go there, hang out. That is the most judgment-free zone I've ever witnessed. First of all, half the people are over 50 to 70, so they don't give a darn.
Getting older is getting sexier every day.
I call getting older is getting longer all over. Ears, nose.
Says Emmett, married to the much younger woman.
Hey, she chose me. I know the game well.
So it's a game. And what I'm teaching people is empowerment. I'm teaching people, self-love. Self-love leads to all other kinds of love.
That is true, because that's what I always say, because so many people are looking for the validation of love that they haven't given themselves. And then,
but we don't know how to give it to ourselves. I mean, we're struggling. We're struggling with meaning and purpose and, and happiness. We're told, think about this. Being happy is not good for the economy.
It's
right?
Wait a minute. Your prime minister is Trudeau, right?
Yes.
You got you got the pretty guy.
Oh yeah, he's quite handsome.
But you see what we got.
No judgment. Americans chose him.
Anywho, Middle America chose him. Anywho, this is actually pretty awesome. What dialogues have you had with people where they say, I get this now. Thank you for what are other people struggling with as well?
So a confidence, self-confidence, which is what I'm here to share with you. Self-confidence comes from inner confidence. That's why I'm who I am. I'm like running Sexy Brilliant. And here's what happens when somebody says, you're very sexy. I'm like, I know. And that's confidence. And that's not an outer confidence, but it's inner confidence, which takes a lot of self-work. It's hard to get there, my friend. It's really, really hard. But not impossible.
But, understanding, I mean, you're a really beautiful woman. You're a really beautiful woman. And so a lot of people might look at you and say, oh yeah, she's thick, but she's also a beautiful woman. So I don't understand how she is going through this thing for validation. But that's someone seeing it from the outside world, not seeing it from the inside, which is the problem that so many of us have, is we're looking for external validation when we need to start from the core, like the heart chakra, and move out and know that how complex and beautiful we are. That's the billionaire lifestyle. When I talk about how we started off as 2 cells that met, and 30 days later, they were over 1 billion cells. How much of a miracle you are. Everyone's special and not special at the same time. We're special to ourselves, and the world is what we create. So when people are dealing with issues of self-esteem, does that a lot come from the outside world projecting them and kind of discounting their inner retrospection?
Yes and no. it also comes back to who we're hanging out with. So if the people around us, including our family, by the way, if our family is not supportive, if our family is inauthentic, judgmental, don't know themselves, guess what's going to happen? It's going to affect us and the way we think and the way we behave. We are a reflection of the company we keep. So yes, so that's the outside part, but the inner part is, so you live with these people. I lived with my husband. I lived with my parents. I was a product of their, we are teaching each other constantly what it is, what life is and what we are reflecting. But then it is up to me to use that and let go of that, unlearn and release everything that doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
And I want to share this one last trick that I use that helped me with Sexy Brilliant even before it happened. Sexy Brilliant is very, very new. I would stand in front of the mirror and I would say, I am sexy. I am brilliant. I am sexy. I am brilliant. And, it didn't matter if I had no food in the fridge. I used to be a full-time dog walker. And some days I would just make $10 a day. And I'd be like, I'm sexy. I'm brilliant. I'm gifted. I'm sexy. I am brilliant. And the more I said it, the more I repeated to myself, the better I got at it. And the more I started believing it.
Yeah. I understand that totally.
Yeah. So mirror therapy works. And use it.
And you sure you haven't heard my show before?
Today's the right day.
I mean, you'll get it in a minute. So,
Okay.
So you understand, or from your advice and from your experiences, it starts within, which is the mantra of the billionaire lifestyle. Where can people reach you?
So the best place is sexybrilliant.com. I am also very, very big on social media and I welcome all new connections. I read all my messages and LinkedIn, Facebook, #SexyBrilliant for more inspirational videos and posts.
And what's your website?
www.sexybrilliant.com.
But you also have a website of your name as well.
That's my personal website, but it's sexybrilliant.com.
She's like, don't throw shade on what I'm trying to do here.
Well, so sexybrilliant.com is the best way to reach me. It's easy. It's, I speak French, so en français, we say, c'est facile. It's easy. Sexybrilliant.com.
Yeah, you don't want to know my experience going to Quebec. They piss me off.
Next show, I'll have you on my show and we'll discuss that.
Oh, we can discuss some things. Anyway, thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Emmett, and thank you to everybody for listening in.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how it ends. You are a billionaire, whether you believe it or not. I'm going to prove it to you in two ways. First, look at your hand, which is your total hand, and look at it from the longest finger down to where it meets your wrist. That is your hand. It is made up of cells. It is made up of epithelial cells. It is made of blood cells. It's got all kinds of things in there. And you have to know there's at least 1 billion cells that are just covering in the skin cells. So if we go deeper than that, if we go down to the atomic structure, you own that. So you are a billionaire. 30 days after your cells met from your mom, pa, or however you came to this planet, you were 1 billion cells after 30 days. In your gut flora, there are 1 trillion cells and life systems that are helping to support you. We live in the 5th dimension. When you think to yourself in silence, that is you in the 5th dimension. As above, so below. So it starts in your head and comes down and manifests in the body. We are fractal, just like your eyes are like the nebulae in the sky. As above, so below. Everything is fractal. We are all special. But if you look at a fractal, it repeats itself down and down and down. So know that you are whole. Know that you are one. And when you are in doubt, When you get out the shower, drop the towel, be as you came to this planet, and wipe the fog off the mirror. Spread your arms like Michael Jackson, spin around, and bask in the glory that is you. If you don't think you're loved, listen to my voice. I love you. Till next time, peace.